Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning. And, there's Gal.
The gal is here, but very dark. I'm working on it.
Oh, yeah, that's
Computer
fine.
is acting
Yeah,
weird.
well, that's okay.
I'm here, and I'm perfectly lit, so we're good. We'll let Gal screw around with this camera for a little bit.
It's the time difference, Gal.
Yeah.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Livestream. I think I also have to adjust. Oh, yeah, when you talk, it's it's clipping. Let me talk, Nick.
Hello? Was it clipping before we started?
I wasn't paying attention, but
No.
I just lowered the gain a little bit, and it looks like it's okay now.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I had
Booming like the sound of God.
You do? You hear it?
Yeah, it sounds fine.
No, I'm asking Gal if he hears the sound of God.
Bucks, always.
All right, so what's going on? I mean, all week I've been working on mixers and sound here in the studio, but what's happening, Nick? Anything
Nothing really
earth shattering?
technology related. Lots of other little issues in the house and with the car and some of that stuff.
Oh
But
yeah, so is everything
Yeah.
okay, or did it come back?
No, so far so good. No
All right.
check engine light in 3 days. So hopefully third time's the charm on getting some
Yeah, well.
repair work done.
Good. Very good. I don't know if there's something that you can talk about this. There was something about. Oh yeah, I was reading something, and I don't know much about it. Something about AMD and Counter-Strike 2.
Oh yeah, actually yes. So AMD AMD has got some. Do you have the story in front of you?
It goes. AMD is taking down the latest version of its AMD Adrenalin Edition graphics driver.
Yes.
After Counter 2 maker Valve warned that players using the anti-lag plus technology would result in a ban under Valve's anti-cheat rules.
Yeah. So pretty much any any multiplayer game you play on a computer
Yeah.
or on a console or something like that has got some sort of anti-cheat engine built into it. So if you're trying to do things to manipulate speed, the frequency of mice, various things that could give you a one up. These softwares, there's a whole bunch of them. There's Punk Buster. There's uh, there's a couple of other ones as well.
Okay.
And there's probably about a handful or so that all these various game engines use. Ease anti-cheat is another one as well. But in this case, you've got graphics drivers for AMD video cards that are doing something to help with lag, and that obviously is coming too close to the line of having an impact on gameplay. So Valve says, hey, you got to change that, or we're going to start banning people that are using this graphics driver, which is interesting. So that's what's going on over there. It's an interesting little story.
Did they do it in order to accomplish them, give help to game players, or it is in general a good thing to have, and it just happened to also do that to the game?
Probably. So, I mean, obviously, the goal was not to get users of AMD graphics cards flagged by Valve's VAC
Right.
system, Valve anti-cheat. Um, but whatever it's doing to try and mitigate lag is doing something that is close enough to the line that like of a cheat bot or something like that that they're using. So they've turned they're
Hmm.
rolling that back and turning that off. And this would be a driver level thing, or it's not the driver itself. It's when you install a graphics driver, you have two options. You can install the display driver, or you can install the display driver and then whatever the software component is of it. You know, GeForce Now on um, uh, NVIDIA cards, and then whatever this AMD thing is. I don't
Yeah.
ever install any of that, so I don't ever have I don't ever have a problem with that stuff. But I mean, I guess it's kind of a good thing if this is potentially giving players an advantage or an upper hand. That is a problem, and so that's kind of an interesting one.
So you only need to worry about it if you're playing games and if you're playing Valve. I mean, games that are made by Valve.
Well, right now, they're the first anti-cheat engine to tag this. I
Mhm.
wouldn't be surprised if some of the others maybe did as well, but it sounds like AMD is just going to remove it as a whole thing, as they should,
Wow.
because that's a pretty miserable position to put your players in.
Yeah.
What I mean, what is the anti-lag driver doing? Like, what's so special about it that it seems like cheating?
So
Uh,
it is designed, AMD's anti-lag plus is set to design to reduce input lag by optimizing how games are control and render graphics. Um, So it's not immediately clear which part of it was potentially triggering the anti-cheat, but when you've got some external thing that is changing how things are being rendered or displayed, that is always going to tip off an anti-cheat engine. That's kind of what was going on there.
Interesting.
so if everybody is using a slower card than mine, it's a special thing that does it, right? I mean, it's not like everybody's using a card that gives you speed of 8, and I bought me a real expensive one and
No,
it's
no.
10, and
Okay.
I have an advantage now.
No, I just read what's going on. So the
Okay.
reason this triggers the cheat engines detection is because what it does, it modifies the games.
Correct.
It modifies something in how the game is operating.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
it's
actually
modifying the rendering, how it's being
right.
displayed.
It so the game works in a certain way and calls the graphics card in a certain way, and the engine basically says, no, 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 I know how to do it better. Okay, something like that. So that is why it's triggering the anti-cheat mechanisms. To me, it seems Uh, they've done good work, but it's probably patented, so it's not something that can be shared. Uh, but it's about optimization. It's basically an optimization issue, right? And they figured out how to optimize things with graphics, so to reduce latency. Um, I mean, the technology is amazing. I'm guessing it'll get to a point where it'll be enabled when it doesn't interfere with with the way it's detected. Interesting.
Is it only available on certain cards, or can anybody that
Yes.
has
Yeah,
the
it's a new feature. Yeah,
okay, so that's
anti-lag
yeah,
plus. They
okay.
already have something called anti-lag that is enabled, but there's an anti-lag plus, and yeah, and they already switched it off. Interesting.
Well, I mean, I
Huh.
hope that they would. You have a whole bunch of your players now, if as AMD players, that could get their accounts suspended or banned from games that use the Valve anti
And
cheat. I
the
would
user the
definitely.
the user cannot disable it?
You could if
Huh.
you knew it was on. But again, this is if you're AMD and you're selling graphics cards and you're making software available, and by
Mhm.
default this anti-cheat, anti-lag plus is on, and it's flagging users as potential cheaters, the right thing to do is to disable that so that you don't.
Ok
It's a very serious. It's if you get VAC banned, which is a global thing, you can't play any games, any Steam games that use that technology.
wow.
I mean, it is it is. I mean, you essentially lose out on potentially thousands of dollars worth of games that you'll never be able to play multiplayer again.
Okay, can any one of you can think of a benefit to have it without having I'm not a gamer. I use CAD, I don't know, any other software that takes advantage of it as as just a user, high power user.
It's meant for gaming.
So that's it.
That's its
It's
main
so
use.
it
Yeah,
only
that's its
okay.
main
Um,
point.
flight simulators, any rendering, 3D rendering that
Okay.
is time sensitive. Whether it's important, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe in the CERN uh, uh, um, collider back in Switzerland. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Like it's yeah, but
Hmm.
it's not about speeding up calculation. It's not about it won't help any crypto miner, right, mine faster or anything like that.
Okay.
It's uh, it's about displaying on the screen something that's happening by user input.
Hmm.
So
All right. Well, I don't know. I mean, they have a driver. If a user can turn it off, then okay. If you want to play on Valve, then you're gonna have to turn it off on your card. Why?
But again, how many you've got hundreds of thousands, millions of these cards out in the
Yeah.
wild. If again, if you're AMD and you know this is a problem, the right thing to do
Oh,
is to get rid of it.
hmm. Oh well. All right. Next. That's another interesting story here. The major online platforms are breaking up with news. This is coming from New York Times. So
Ah, take it for
Campbell
what it's worth.
Brown, Facebook's top news executive, said this month that she was leaving the company. Twitter, X, removed headlines from the platform days later. The head of Instagram Thread app, an ex competitor, reiterated that his social network would not amplify news. Even Google, the strongest partner to news organizations over the past 10 years, has become less dependable, making publishers more wary of their reliance on the search giant. The company has laid off news employees in two recent team reorganizations, and some publishers say traffic from Google has tapered off. Some executives of the largest tech companies, like Adam Mosseri at Instagram, have said in no uncertain terms that hosting news on their sites can often be more trouble than it is worth because it generates polarized debates. It's like they were the news organizations were always, I guess, taking advantage of the social networks to gain more voice out there, and it seems like many of these platforms now are going to taper down.
I
It,
mean,
it just
well, I'm not understanding. Are they complaining that they're not getting enough traffic, or
no. I mean, it's not that they are complaining. I mean, the networks, the social networks said we are not going to.
I remember that, but now I'm hearing news organizations saying traffic has died down.
Well, they said that traffic from Google has tapered off. That's just this is um who was that? Some publishers say traffic from Google has tapered off. They were getting news from Google and they were sending their news to Google, and now it's not as it, Google that doesn't take everything and just what they call amplify it.
Right. So I'm trying to understand if this is a complaint or this is
It's just an observation by this author who wrote this.
because if this is in contrast to what we used to read about them complaining, right? News services complaining that uh, um, that because the way news is curated, right, they are not uh, getting exposed. Instead, people are basically reading the articles on the sites publishing the news
Oh,
instead of going to their website, right? And they wanted, if I recall correctly, they wanted to charge
yeah.
Google and Facebook fees for that. Remember that?
Hmm.
And there were some rulings somewhere that that was about to be successful. So is the observation now saying we made a mistake? That's what I'm trying to understand. If it's not, then yeah, let's move on. And it's not that interesting. It's just
We're going to
find
have
it
to
strange.
wait and see. Nick, what's your take on the? Oh,
He just stepped away. He'll be back in a minute.
uh, it seems like, I mean, like when Facebook shut down news in Canada,
Right.
so, uh, instead of just bam, like cut it off, they're saying that it's being tapered slowly tapered. So there is they're putting a distance between themselves and the news organizations.
Yeah, they're
It
stopping to curate it. That much I
Yeah.
understand, which probably is a good thing. Um, yeah. So unclear what they wanted to
To accomplish.
say in the article.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no idea. It's a
Yeah.
I guess it's an opinion from
Yeah.
the New York Times. Like I said, that's why I said take it with a pinch of salt. Um. So what was wrong with your system? What was it?
I have no idea. I woke up and everything's wonky.
Wow.
And I didn't have time to reboot, so not totally sure.
There was something here that will be of interest to you. Here's one: a critical vulnerability that hackers have exploited since August, which allows them to bypass multi-factor authentication in Citrix networking hardware, has received a patch from the manufacturer. Unfortunately, applying it isn't enough to protect affected system. This is coming from Ars Technica. That's bad.
That is bad. That means they've tried to implement it differently than how it should be implemented. Uh, I mean, I've never had a good thing to say about Citrix. It was always a very convoluted system.
I never used it, so I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't use it. It's so the way they work is they create virtual desktop environments. That's their biggest selling point. Virtual desktop environments in organizations. So you would get you would get a very thin client on to just basically connect via, let's say, RDP
Mhm.
into the server. The server would run the virtual desktop environment. It's very similar to the concept of a VM, right? But it's specifically tailored to run a Windows desktop. So it's like a hybrid between a VM and a container, something like that, like a very resource um, uh, the resources can be shared a lot better than with VMs. But yeah, I think they had security issues throughout their history. And the thing is, they changed the way that desktop environment worked so much that it doesn't matter. Software needed to be tailored to be able to run properly on these desktops more often than not.
Under Citrix.
On a Citrix,
Yeah.
yeah, which is they host a Windows desktop, right? But it's still like it's very clunky. So they had a novel idea. They were one of the first ones doing it. They grew to be a huge organization because of that, but their software was always terrible. Was always terrible. And now we hear of this. This is a big deal. I just don't know. I don't know what the details are. I see a lot are writing about it. Um, so yeah. Uh, maybe if I dive deep into the
No.
article in a moment, then I'll know
There's
more. But
something there's something else about Google has been caught hosting a malicious ad so convincing that there is a decent chance it has managed to trick some of the more security savvy users who encountered it. Looking at the ad, which masquerades as a pitch for the open source password manager KeePass, there's no way to know that it's fake. It's on Google, after all, which claims to vet the ads it carries, making the ruse all the more convincing. Clicking on it leads to the A with the two dots on top in foreign, in like German, whatever, ePass. So it's not really KeyPass. It looks like KeyPass, that info, which when
yeah,
viewed,
K was with some sort of umlaut at the
yeah, we used to call it in the military
below it.
A Ba'ad. I don't know. Which, when viewed in an address bar, appears to be the genuine KeyPass site. A closer look at the link, however, shows that the site is not the genuine one. In fact,
Yeah.
at least when it appears in the address bar, it's just an encoded way of denoting XN
Yep.
ePass, which it turns out is pushing a malware family tracked as fake bat, combining the ad on Google, which websites with a website with an almost identical URL creates a near perfect storm of deception.
Yep.
So, I mean, really, you need to look.
You need to know what you're doing.
I mean, you need to
And
know what
most
you're doing.
people won't know. Like
I
even security-centric people will miss this. They're correct.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
and you do, and you really, you don't have to be a security expert to protect yourself better.
No.
I had somebody calling me this week that said, "Amnon, can you help me?" I mean, he was panicking. He said, I have a screen on my computer that says that it's the computer is in trouble and I need to call this number to fix it. And I can't do anything. And it's not backed up and I don't know what to do." So this was Windows 11.
Well, first of all, he did the right thing. He
Oh
called you.
yeah, absolutely. No, it's good. I told him, I said, I hope you didn't call the number and let them get into the computer before you calling me. He said, no. Right off the bat, I didn't know how to get into safe mode. I just had him turn off the computer with the power button a few times and turn it back on while
That's
it's
how you get
booting.
into safe mode in Windows 11.
I think
That is the official way. You need to switch off the machine,
really.
switch it on, let it start the boot process, switch it off, and
That's
then
I
the next
remember
time you
it.
switch it
Yeah.
on, it'll give you a menu.
So he did that. There is really nothing that he had to do when it got in there. I mean, I took him through the menu and there was nothing to do. So I said, okay, let it go and see what happens. It cleared.
Yeah.
And I had him download CCleaner and just remove all the temporary, because what this is a cache. It's just an HTML page. That's all it is. That's covering, and it does some other things that kills you. He couldn't do Control Alt Delete to get into Task
Interesting.
Manager and all that. But I said, well, how did you get there? He said, I was going to Facebook. I said, how did you go to Facebook? He said, I typed Facebook. I said, did you type Facebook or Facebook.com? He said, no, I just typed Facebook and I clicked on the first result. And this happens so often, right? I don't understand why Google has no way to detect. These are people that are actually paying Google to be on first. And they are malware. It's a malware disseminator. And Google yet takes their money, which is not much, right? It's a couple of bucks. Can't you give up these couple of bucks and write something that will tell you, hey, no, this is not going where it's supposed to go? I don't understand why they don't do it. So we end up having to do it. So I always tell people, if you try to go somewhere, if you try to call me and you know my number, you don't call the operator and ask for Amnon's number.
Yeah, but
I know
we're not
it's
going to
easier.
change that,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it's easier said than done. You're right.
I think the easier route is telling them, look at the web page and see that there are links that says sponsored or ad,
That's good.
and do not click those.
Yeah.
Never click those. That's one. And two is, why aren't you running an ad blocker? Like,
Yeah.
that's number one. Start with an ad blocker.
Yeah.
You don't know how? Let me show you. You go here, you go here, you go here, you install this. This is the first thing you install on your machine, and your mind can be a bit more at ease. People won't change their habits, unfortunately, but you can scare them, right? Into
Well, he
something.
was plenty scared. Anybody that called me
Yeah,
with this,
he will notice now. I
Yeah.
do not know if he. There's one other trick that is a keyboard trick. Use Control Enter. Control Enter does a very, very stupid thing, but it works most of the time. If you type Facebook in your address bar,
Yeah.
and you hit Control Enter, it will add before Facebook www dot and after Facebook.com.
Really?
So yeah, that's
Okay.
there. That's been there since
I never knew about that.
Mosaic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so just use Control Enter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it this way. If you know that you're going to Facebook.com, I mean, it's less mouse clicks and all that. Just type Facebook.com, Microsoft.com,
So type Facebook, Control Enter. Type Facebook,
and that will
Control
fix
Enter.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. Very good to know. That's hopefully people will get that, and I'll remember that also. But yeah, it's everything was there. I had him run afterwards. I had him run Malwarebytes and scan his
Yeah. So it seems
computer,
like
and everything was fine.
exactly the same issue that happened with KeyPass was happening that week.
Yeah.
For your customer.
Yeah.
With Facebook. It's like some sort of coordinated attack.
Very possible. Yeah. There was a story. I don't think I kept it, but they said that a lot of these people are hosting their malware now on sites that host cryptocurrency, because they are blockchain, and the authorities cannot really take it down right away. They were saying that they figured out a way how to get in there, and then it stays there. Yeah, it stays longer, because if you find it on somebody's website that somebody got in there and hosted something, yeah, they'll shut them down. But here, you can't do that. You can't do that to them. They say they're getting very savvy in where they're hosting that stuff. I don't know. Nick?
Yo.
Discord.
Yep.
Is overhauling the way it moderates its platform with a new warning system and teen safety assist feature. The new Discord warning system has been totally revamped to be far more transparent, educating Discord user now how they've broken rules and are restricted from parts of the service rather than permanently banning them. That's always a better thing. Tell them what they did wrong and do it. The new system gives users more room to learn from their mistakes and correct misjudgments. This is coming from Savannah Badlich. She's the Senior Director of Policy. We're moving away from permanent bans to 1-year temporary bans for many violations, except for violations that are extremely harmful. Do you remember, like, about a year ago, I told you that I was looking into Trovo, and you
Sure.
said, "Nah, don't do it over there."
Yeah.
So I forgot that it was still streaming there. I got a notice Friday that I've been banned permanently because of bad behavior. Really? And they say, well, you can read the terms and conditions to find out why. And I hate when they do stuff like this. Uh, YouTube
From
does the same
Discord?
thing. What?
From Discord?
That's not from Discord. Trovo.
Oh,
Trovo is another gaming streaming thing, like Twitch. They don't tell you what you did or what was wrong or where it was wrong. They tell you, read the terms and conditions and figure out why. So I sent
that's
back,
because they don't want to be liable.
I don't know. I sent an email, but they say, if you don't think it's right, then let us know. I sent something back. I said, look, I understand you. I didn't mean to do all this anyway, so I'm disconnecting. But I want to know, you already know where it is and what it is. Why can't you just tell me what it is? I'd like to know what bad behavior.
Because you'll fix that bad behavior.
Well,
Well, no,
yeah,
I mean,
I would fix it, but I doubt it was bad behavior.
no, I mean, I can tell you exactly the reason why. You've been streaming to that platform for 24/7 for how many months? So
And I
they're just
asked
eating up.
them, and
Yeah, but
before I
you're eating up
start,
their bandwidth, and they don't want you using it anymore, so they ban your
well,
account.
that's fine. You can say we changed our rules and we don't
Sure,
allow
but I mean, that's
24/7.
what it comes down to.
Yeah.
It was undoubtedly not bad behavior.
Yeah.
It was you're eating up their bandwidth, so they're
Yeah.
suspending your account.
That's fine. I mean, it was just interesting to see something like that.
Amnon, we have a new guest with us.
Haley is here. What do you know?
Oh, crazy
Oh,
that.
did you say 9:45 or 8:45?
I thought 9:45.
No, 8.
My apologies.
It's okay. Haley, can you bring your head up in the shot? So turn your camera. Yeah, a little more. All right, that's good. Introduce yourself, Haley.
Hi, I'm Haley. I'm a geek. I run
to.
a digital marketing agency and I'm a software engineer with about 25 years of experience.
Yeah, and you're
Okay,
not
well,
just marketing and whoops, that's not it. You're a speaker and you're
I am. I'm a speaker. I have a Facebook group with about 75,000 members in it called Women's Entrepreneur Network. We put a ton of free information out there. I'm an author. I've done the whole best-selling author thing. And I have strong opinions about small business, marketing, and IT and security too.
and the way that we met is because you do um, WordPress development,
I do.
not the
With
simple
my
ones, the real complicated ones.
well, we do a lot of simple ones. I mean, I will say that we do relatively simple sites all day long. And we do simple brochure sites for small business. We do restaurants. We do all kinds of things. And then we have some 800-pound gorilla WordPress sites and Shopify sites. And, we deal with a lot of different tech, from a marketing perspective. But it's always that, trying to find the option that involves the least amount of plugins, super specific coding, that type of thing, because I have a huge focus on maintainability. Once I'm done with the site, how is this thing going to be maintained? And
And you're local here in Raleigh.
I am local in Raleigh. I'm in Cary,
I mean,
actually,
yeah,
and
in the
actually
triangle, I mean.
in the Triangle, yeah. And actually, this morning I was off hauling dogs around. I am solo parenting the dogs for the next couple of months while my husband's out of town dealing with a family emergency. And I have a coon hound. And let me just tell you, having a coon hound is like having a toddler 24/7.
A coon hunt.
Coon hound. Yeah, I never had any experience with the breed prior to adopting one and then finding out that I had adopted a purebred. Oops.
All right. Guys, while I'm doing the lower third, you wanna discuss
Sure.
I'm
things?
happy to discuss all kinds of random things.
Well, give us something then, Amnon.
D yeah, okay, go ahead and talk about WordPress problems.
Oh, WordPress problems. Oh my
That's
gosh.
always
Well, I mean, I think that one of the biggest things that we run into with a lot of websites in general is maintainability and maintenance. So if you think about, a website, a lot of people think, oh, I just put the website up and I never have to touch it again. I never have to do maintenance. And with WordPress, like with any other software platform, you actually have to do software updates. You have to make sure that your plugins are safe. You have to make sure that you are, um, updating your terms and conditions. You have to make sure that you're updating your privacy policies. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into having a presence on the web, and I think that a lot of small businesses underestimate the amount of work that can be involved in that, or they put up a website and they don't update it for 10 years, and sometimes it gets hacked and it gets owned by a hacker. And I always go back to the story about the Boy Scout troop that I know that their website got hacked and turned into a porn site. And this is a perfect lesson in what not to do as far as maintainability. And it's not just about having WordFence and other firewall software out there, but making sure that everything is up to date, because most of the software updates that we see are not really feature enhancements, but they're just, security enhancements and security fixes. And a lot of them are day zero security fixes that they're finding. It's kind of shocking to me to see how much of the updates are really necessary for security and to prevent being hacked. And people wildly underestimate what can happen to their business when their website is hacked, which is why I like partnering with Amnon, because he gets it. What
um
about y'all?
yeah,
So I'm just a general geek in doing computer work since forever. Right now, I am a data engineer. Uh, did some DevOps work in the past couple of years. Before that, I did support work for ages for enterprise level. Um, yeah, I come from the background, the industry I've been at is the security industry. Support
Mhm.
work I did was for several security centric firms in information technology. So yeah. Uh, Before that, I did some software engineering back in the day. Um, Jack of all trades. I just really like this stuff. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, uh, yeah. Updating WordPress is other than WordPress. Do you see any static generated sites? Because that has become a major shift in the past, I don't know, 5 to 10 years. I think there's this move into, instead of having this very complex piece of software being interfaced with the world, let's reduce it just to the web server and some static files that do stuff mostly on the browser side.
Mhm.
Uh, have you seen that change, or because you're focused on WordPress is like it's something different?
So I think there are a ton of different platforms when we start looking at website development in general. And then we have to look at what it is exactly that we're trying to do with that website and what is the aim and the objective. And unfortunately, what we run into with some of these static and web page builders is that they don't offer a lot of the customization that my clients want in a website. And a lot of the static builders also don't have the best search engine optimization. So, one of the things that I am concerned about with a lot of small business is things like, can I do basic search engine optimization? Can I do some basic um, spam prevention? Can I do some of these things? So, some of these builders really don't have the capabilities that we even need. Um, I mean, that said, there's a ton of different builders and options, and every single one of them has strengths and weaknesses. But where I end up, with most of the websites that I end up developing are Shopify because of the platform that it offers a ton of customization, but it's not as customizable as, say, WordPress. If somebody wants a very specific look for their website, if we start looking at something like Wix, it's a very easy to build builder, but the mobile optimization is not as good as as it could be on WordPress. Also, we run into some of the e-commerce issues with Wix. If we start looking at Squarespace, um, the mobile optimization is not as good. The SEO is way far behind what we see with Wix and WordPress even. So every single platform has its strengths and weaknesses. If you want to look at some of the builders that we used to say for a funnel builder, like a Go High Level, Entreport, Fusionsoft, Keep, those types of platforms, they all have strengths and weaknesses, and it really depends on what your goals and aims are for your business and what exactly you're trying to do. WordPress, in a lot of cases, believe it or not, is actually one of the simplest options. Um, with if you can introduce a good builder, like we use Divi, but a lot of my competitors will use Elementor or sometimes Beaver Builder, and there's a couple of other builders. Um, Honestly, what I'm trying to do is minimize the number of plugins on a site and make it so that if a client wanted to, they could go into the site and update whatever they wanted to be able to update without accidentally blasting the entire site away. So I look at how maintainable is this website by the client, and how likely are they to be able to maintain it going forward. And I find with a WYSIWYG builder, like your Wixes, your Squarespaces, Square, um, you know, and even WordPress, that you're able to achieve that level of customization, and sometimes even more customization without having to be super duper technically savvy, which means that that opens up my labor pool in terms of who I can hire to do website development. It also means that the customer themselves, even if they aren't super technologically savvy, can go in and update the website themselves. If it's a WordPress site, they own their own website. Some of these builders, you don't own your own website. You can't just take your files and go elsewhere, right? So there's issues from an ownership perspective and maintenance perspective that we discuss with almost every single client. If I have a client that comes to me and they say basically, oh, I had this website done previously and it got taken down by my host because I never maintained it. And I really don't ever want to update my website. I just want it to be. I'm probably going to put those people on Wix, to be honest, because Wix does all the software updates. They have all their, firewall stuff. And if that's all you ever want for your site to be, and you don't really care about search engine optimization and you don't care about updating it, and you don't feel like you should have to do software updates, that's probably going to be the platform I put you on. And it's cheap and it's easy and it's low maintenance. So it is a case by case kind of basis in terms of where should this client actually be.
Interesting. Do most of your customers self-host
No.
the WordPress, or do they do it on like WordPress.com hosting?
Most of them host either on GoDaddy or SiteGround. I usually either have people host with Amnon or on SiteGround for hosting.
That's
Um,
basically self-hosting, right? It's not. They're not relying on a hosted service that updates the site for them.
Right, exactly. Well, in SiteGround, you can actually set things up so that things mostly tend to auto update. Um, you know, that's great if you have a relatively simple site. It's not so great if you have a client or a site like the one that we're seeing right now with one of the clients that I'm working on. Actually, a couple of the clients we're working on right now with Amnon, because those clients, they're going to require a lot more due diligence because of the volume of traffic that's going to be generated for those websites and the potential for being a cyber attack target just because of the nature of what they are. And
Mhm.
they're in totally different industries. It just depends on, how visible is this and how likely are people going to be to want to try to take the site down.
Okay, so one last question. You've seen Computers 2K Now's site. It is that way because Amnon refuses to put any smarts behind it. He just wanted to be fast and simple. You sell him a different idea.
I mean, only if he really wants it. I mean, I'm not here to twist people's arms into doing a new website any more often than is absolutely necessary, to be honest. I have conversations with people all the time, and they're like, should I do a new website? And I'm like, it depends. Is the old one currently serving you and your needs or not? Websites can be a huge investment for a business, both in terms of time, money, energy, distraction, everything else. If you can maintain your current site, I personally am kind of the mindset of maintain it until you can't anymore. That's the other reason why I develop websites the way I do. I try to put them on platforms like, a WordPress site with Divi that I know has been around for forever and that's probably going to be around forever and it's going to be supported forever. It's not helpful to the business or the nonprofit that I'm working with to have to constantly be redoing their site.
Well, he's definitely not redoing it, but
I'm
let's
not.
say at the end of this show, Amnon goes in and edits the HTML and adds a line pointing to the new file that has been recorded. There's a lot of potential for automation here, but he needs a robust system behind it to allow that, right? Because he does everything manual today.
Well, and then if you look at, I'll play devil's advocate and say, what is the cost to the business to doing that? Do you want to manually update your shows every time you put one up? How long does it actually take? What's the cost versus what would it cost you to actually automate that? There is not zero cost in automation. And the other problem I've run into as somebody who has a YouTube channel and who does a ton of videos, I don't necessarily want every video to be propagated throughout my entire ecosystem. Some videos may be a one-off, or maybe I had so many tech issues on a particular day that I don't really want to promote that particular video. So in which case you've got an exception to your automation, and does your automation handle that correctly? So have to decide how much it's worth to you and whether you really want to make that investment or not.
Well, let me just, before we go to special, Nick, are you ready for the specials?
Yes, sir.
We'll go in a second. I'll just say, Haley, it takes me about 10 minutes to update the site with the new links.
And to
So,
be fair,
And
this is like
and
there
I'm
is zero profit, right? There's
right, and
no,
I
it's
feel
not done
comfortable
for
doing
profit.
it, and that's it. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not selling anything.
Exactly.
I'm serving stuff. Okay.
Exactly. So why would you put a ton of effort,
I
into it
I always
unless you're
I always told the guys, I mean, I'm willing to change if all the functionality is there and you're willing to do the website.
Yeah,
Because
true.
There you go,
yeah.
Val.
All right, we're ready, right, Nick?
Sure.
I'm gonna say bye. I'm heading to
Oh,
the rally, in Raleigh.
okay.
So
Take it easy.
See you, go.
See you. All right, Nick.
All right, let's do it. Got some specials for October the 22nd. Check out this screenshot if you'll scroll down, Amnon. So you come out of the grocery store and you see this on your heads up display that your car is in the middle of a software update and there's 37, almost 37 and a half minutes remaining on it. And you have to sit and park and wait. Um, saw that on Facebook this week. Thought it was rather interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, it's comes with the territory when you're just essentially driving around a computer. Um,
Hmm.
all right, let's look at a couple of special items here this morning. MSI has got one of their Sword brand gaming laptops on sale over at Walmart. This is not a small laptop. If you're carrying this around with you every day, it's pretty heavy and pretty large. So just be advised of that. It's 15.6 inch. It does have a 144 hertz display, which is pretty cool. It's running the last gen i7 1260, 12650H, but it does have a GeForce RTX 4060 on it. That's an 8 gig mobile GPU as well as 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. So it's about a generation old, so it doesn't have DDR5. Plus, it comes with a 1 terabyte NVMe and Windows 11. Normally $1,100 on sale over at Walmart for $899. Next up, over at Best Buy, a TCL branded 65-inch 4K QLED smart television. This has got the Google TV smart functionality built into it, so it's not Roku or Fire. It's the older Google TV brand. But the price is pretty hard to beat. $399. That deal ends on Tuesday, so this is just limited for the next couple of days. Available at Best Buy, $399. Save $200 on that. This was actually a request by one of our listeners, Amnon. They reached out to me this week and said, "Hey, I need just a small kind of couple of basic computer monitors for home." So I pulled this. It's an AOC brand. I've got two 34-inch curved AOC monitors that I've had for the last 5+ years. I have nothing but good things to say about them. So this is the AOC 27B2H. This is their 27-inch IPS monitor. One of the things you'll note on the picture, it's got really thin bezels specifically on the sides. So if you
Mhm.
were to put two of these right next to each other, you'd have a very little gap in terms of using this in a dual monitor setup. And it is 75 hertz, so you're getting a little bit more than just your traditional 60 hertz on that. In terms of connectivity, because it is a basic monitor, it does not have DisplayPort, but it does have HDMI and VGA. Plus, it's VESA compatible also. So you'll be able to put this on a 2-arm monitor stand and connect your computer to it without a problem. $99 available over at Amazon.
So I have not looked at monitors lately. So
Can you turn your mic
27
up a
is
little
a
bit, Amnon?
small,
Your mic is super low.
super low.
But you're just either not close enough to it or it's, yeah, one or the
Uh-oh.
other. Just turn it up or move it closer to your mouth.
All
That's all.
right. Well, I mean, I'm looking here and it's okay. Anyway, is it better now?
Yes. Much better. Yes.
All right. So I've never haven't looked at monitors lately.
Mhm.
27 is a small one these days, huh?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you can get a 24-inch monitor or something smaller. The pickings is far more limited, but I think the average monitor size now is between 27 and 32.
Wow.
That's what people are buying, or they're just getting like you have one of a very large 16 by 10 widescreen monitor. instead of two traditional monitors. But for something cheap,
Yeah.
this is got just over 3,100 reviews on Amazon, and it's got a good rating. So I don't necessarily, again, it's a cheap monitor. Take it for what it's worth.
Mhm.
But it's $100 available over at Amazon. Next up, it has been years since we've had printers in specials because of the just exorbitant price and seemingly no stock. So here is a Canon Color MF652CW wireless laser printer. So
So
this is
it
a
is
wireless
laser.
color laser for a buck 99. MSRP on this is normally 230, so it's not the deepest discount in the world, but it's in stock. So with this, you get obviously the ability to print and as well as scan and copy also. So 199 bucks available over at Walmart. In terms of the rate on this, it's 22 pages per minute, so it's not a very fast printer if you're trying to just bang out a bunch of copies of stuff. Um, Not the fastest thing in the world, but 22 pages is more than sufficient for any normal sort of printing use. As I'm sure we're all well, Canon, a pretty reputable printer brand, so that's
Mhm.
available there.
Image Class is a
199.
good printer.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's in stock, which is even better. Um, Monoprice has these cool little devices in stock. We've talked about these in the past. These are HDMI over base 10 Ethernet extenders. So a use case for this could very well be if you have a garage or an outdoor patio with a television. Now, if you're using a streaming app like YouTube TV or Hulu or even the Spectrum or AT&T app, this is becoming less prominent. But if you're trying to duplicate a display or add another television to your setup without having to purchase another cable box or a DirecTV box or something like that, you have two of these units. You put one on the master side, the other on the slave side, and you inject it with HDMI from a cable box or something like that, or a DirecTV box. You run base 10 Ethernet, Cat 5 minimum in terms of connectivity. And then on the other end, you plug your Cat 5 in, you get an HDMI output, and you can extend this up to 70 meters. So you get, it's about what 250 feet, I guess. So you get really, you can extend extend HDMI across probably your entire house if need be. These are normally 140 bucks. They're on sale for 99 over at Mono Price. So you can check that out there. Next up, a OBD2 diagnostic scan tool. I bought one of these this morning because the one I have doesn't work at all. It's never found a code. So this is on sale over at Amazon. This is for you to plug into the CAN bus connector in your car to scan for check engine lights and other sorts of codes that your car might be spitting out on the dashboard. Especially if you have an older vehicle that doesn't have a nice display that you can actually check what the code is. All you get is the annunciators. This is normally $25. It's $20 on Amazon, plus there's a $20 coupon, plus there's a promo code. So it gets it all the way down to $11.35, which seems to be a pretty good deal on this over at
Absolutely.
Amazon.
And it's a good
Say again?
unit. It's a good unit.
It's a good unit, and it
Yeah.
is the #1 bestseller for code readers and scan tools on Amazon. It has 200 reviews shy of 40,000. So a lot of folks are buying these. And again, that's available over at Amazon. Mine will be here this week. I'll hopefully I won't have to use it, but I'll plug it in and see what it wants to do. Available over at Amazon. Also at Amazon, we've had a lot of these style devices over the last couple of months. This company, I still don't know how it's pronounced, Base US. They make a whole bunch of portable power banks. This is their 20-watt, 10,000 milliamp hour portable charger. It is normally 30 bucks, and there is a promo code to put in to bring that price all the way down to $13. So click the link in the specials for that. You'll see the promo code on Slick Deals, and you can just copy that over, get it for 13 bucks shipped to your house there. And then 2 final products. I thought this one was pretty neat. I wish Gall didn't have to leave. I thought he would find this pretty cool. For individuals that want to play around with breadboard computers, Arduinos, and things like that, this is a company that makes an Arduino compatible device. Their product is called the Uno. It's their microcomputer, and this is the Uno R3 kit. And it comes with a whole bunch of stuff. Let me see if I can pull this up quickly. Amnon, can you switch over to my video? Perfect. So this is the kit. Comes with some pretty cool stuff. You can see right there in the middle. That's the actual the basis of this. The brains, the Uno R3. That's their little computer. There's a USB breakout for it. Looks like you've got a couple of speaker cards, a joystick, some little semiconductor processors. You got a little fan that you can connect to it, LED lights, a whole bunch of different resistors and capacitors, an LCD screen, the traditional breadboard where you can plug in and do your pinouts as well. And then it comes with this CD, which I think is odd, but it comes with this CD that's got a PDF guide on it, code, and some libraries. Plus, this is compatible with the Arduino IDE. So you can, if you're familiar with that, you can go ahead and use the traditional IDE. It's $32. Cool little kit, especially if you've got a child or grandchild that's interested in electronics. This would be a really cool way. It's better than those kits you find in the store that are really, really basic. You can do some pretty cool stuff with this. Available over at Amazon for $31.50. And then finally, this is just a really basic 3-to-1 HDMI switch. So you can connect up to 3 different devices. It is limited to 60 hertz. So if you're trying to use an Xbox or something that outputs 144 hertz or 120 hertz, this is going to be your bottleneck. But if you're connecting this to a cable box, a DVD player, or something else that you're not worried about frame rate, and it's capped at 60 hertz, you can do that. It does support 4K, however. So for watching most sorts of media, you'll be good to go. It is available over at Amazon for $8.50. So that is specials for Sunday, October 22nd.
Thanks, Nick. And
of course.
And you can get that whole file on the site on Computers 2K Now. On the left, just click on the specials. And you can actually just click on it. I mean, Nick is talking about all kind of codes and this and that. So you get it right there. You don't need to worry about finding out. He already did the work for you. You just need to enter it. But you have to go and get that file in order to click on it or display it.
Yeah, some things have, you'll notice if you've ever clicked through it before, some of the items, if you click on the pictures, all the links, all the images are hyperlinked. Some images will take you directly to the Amazon link. Others will take you to Slick Deals. The ones that take you to Slick Deals, it's because there's a coupon code or something in there that you need to copy over,
right,
like for the OBD2 scanner. So, yeah, check that out.
Well, thanks, Nick.
Of course.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's see. I just want to get some other stuff here. Netflix. Netflix said
unbelievable.
Its effort to limit password sharing led to a 10.8 rise in subscriptions in the third quarter, a better than expected result that comes as the company plans to increase some prices in the US and other markets. The streaming giant added 8.8 million subscribers in the third quarter, with customer growth in every region. Its largest quarterly customer gain since the second quarter of 2020. Who would have thought?
When you kick everybody off their shared accounts, it's not a surprise. These price hikes are pretty significant too.
They are very significant. It says that they are planning to immediately raise prices for its basic plan in the US, which is no longer available to new customers, to
Mhm.
$11.99 from $9.99, and up the cost of its premium plan to $22.99 from $19.99. So now it's $11.99 and $22.99.
$12 and $23.
Yeah. Soon it's going to be just what same as cable was. Give
I-
it give it a couple of
I
months.
cannot believe how expensive Netflix has gotten. I mean, $23 a month. I mean, I know
Yep.
they've got a lot of good content. Some of their exclusive shows like Stranger Things are really popular, but damn, $23 a month for Netflix is
Yep.
you're talking about at that point a quarter of the price of something like YouTube TV. Excuse me, a third of the price of something like YouTube TV, which is $74 a month or something like that.
So yeah, upwards of.
Yeah, 72,
Yeah.
75, something like that.
Yeah.
A third of the cost.
And when it
Or
started, what, 2 years ago, it was in the 40s, wasn't it?
what was?
YouTube TV.
No, I think that was Hulu.
Oh,
Yeah, Hulu was the one that started at like 40 and then it went up dramatic. When they added ESPN and everything, it added like $15 to it. But
yeah.
I guess for $23 a month.
Cord cutting used to be a straightforward thing, and it was easy. Today, it's you have to do a lot of thinking and configuring what you want and calculating how much, and yeah, it's still better than just subscribing to cable. Don't
Oh, I
misunderstand me.
disagree.
You disagree?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, with cable, you get just what they give you.
Well, when you pay $23 a month for Netflix, you only get what they give you.
That's right, but 23 and another 10 here and another 20 there do what, and you get more stuff that you want. I don't know. I guess
Yeah, well,
it's
again, it depends on what you're looking for. If
yeah.
you're a live sports fan, these services don't provide any of that to you. You have to be subscribed to one of the live TV services to get any of
I
that.
thought you can subscribe to something NFL, something I don't know.
NFL Sunday Ticket, yeah, it's through YouTube. It's $400 a
Oh,
year, which
okay. Wow.
isn't terrible.
Yeah.
But you have to have the 70 something dollar a month package to subscribe to it, which I do, and it's great. I mean, the Sunday Ticket on YouTube is phenomenal. Um, I don't know,
Yeah.
just something about the cost of Netflix. And at this point, Netflix is double the cost of Spotify.
So here, Nick, here we go again. The US FCC voted Thursday to advance a proposal to reinstate landmark net neutrality rules and assume new regulatory oversight of broadband internet that was rescinded under former President Donald Trump.
Oh yes, we know how well net neutrality worked
Yeah,
last
right.
time. Let's
I mean,
let's bring
it
it back
is
out of bring it back out of the closet. It worked so
on
well
again,
before.
off again, on again,
Yeah.
off again. We'll just
I
have
don't know
to.
what's worse, that story or the fact that Lena Khan, the FTC chairwoman, the day after Activision closed their $69 billion deal with
Mhm.
Microsoft's announced that they were still going to try and fight it in court.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what's a worse story.
it's like they don't have anything else to do.
No, I guess there's nothing else
Yep.
going on in the consumer world besides Activision, Microsoft, and Blizzard.
Ellie, are you a gamer at all?
I am not. My children are.
Oh,
What do they play?
You know, it depends on which kid we're talking about. And I have college age and high school age kids. So
Gotcha.
they play whatever they feel like playing, I guess is the answer to that question.
So probably some Call of Duties and things mixed in there, some first person shooters.
Probably.
Excellent.
hmm Yeah, one of them's at an all boys military boarding school.
Understood. There you go.
So yeah, I'm sure
Oh.
that there's lots of that going on. I just, as long as it's understood that it's a game and we have those conversations, I'm good. Actually, I will jokingly tell you, I have no life. I have kids, I have a business, I have dogs. where I was this morning, I was walking dogs. Um, it,
That's
it's a
life.
very busy life.
That's
It
life.
is life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny as I've become an adult and had to deal with all of the adult responsibilities. I guess I would say my interest and my availability to video game has dropped significantly, and it kind of sucks, but it is the reality, unfortunately.
Yeah, my older son is an undergrad studying computer science at Auburn, and I'm seeing the same thing with him, where his ability and availability to do video games or D&D or other things is just severely limited now that he's in a senior year in computer science. He's taking a crazy course load.
Yeah,
Well, I can
and then
sleep or I can game. Which one will it be?
exactly, yeah, and that's exactly the trade off. If I looked at my video game stats over the last probably 2 years, it would be nothing. I mean, like practically zero in comparison
Mhm.
to hundreds of hours a year in years prior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adulting is highly overrated.
It is. Well, no, it's not. I mean, there's some great stuff that comes with it as well, but some of the other things just no longer a priority.
Mhm.
So
I can agree with that for sure.
the I the IRS will test a free tax filing service in 2024
Oh Lord.
for a subset of lucky taxpayers in as many as 13
Lucky.
states. A what?
Lucky?
That's what they say. Direct file, as the service is called, is a shot across the bows of TurboTax, H&R Block, and other paid tax prep services whose owners have resisted free and simple tax filing for decades. This is a critical step toward for this innovative effort that will test the feasibility of providing taxpayers a new option to file their returns for free directly with the IRS. We'll see. We'll
We'll
see
have to see how it
what
works, right?
I know. Yeah, that's it.
But it'll be nice to be able to file without having to go through either a
Yeah,
CPA or, other means in order to do that e-file for sure.
yeah. If they don't simplify the form, then it's going to be just as hard to do it online.
Yeah, if not worse, yeah.
Yeah.
These companies,
Eh,
TurboTax and all these other companies are pissed. And rightfully, and I mean, if I was in their position, I would also be pissed because I mean, this will come for the vast majority of their customers, which are people just doing regular single file, if that one federal, one state. I mean, they could be losing out on hundreds of millions of dollars a
Sure.
year's worth of revenue
Oh well.
if the IRS
Mhm.
is able to offer this for free.
But I'm also gonna play devil's advocate to some extent that there are a lot of people who would rather gnaw their leg off than actually file their own taxes.
True.
So I would dare say there's a huge percentage of the population that wouldn't touch it even if it is free because they just want to hand somebody a pile of bank statements or a box of receipts and just be done with it. I know it's my least favorite thing to do in my business is all of the work that I have to do in order to prepare for taxes. It's a crap load of work for, very little benefit. So I can see why,
Oh,
somebody wouldn't really want to do it.
A crap load of work to send a nice big fat check to the federal government. Oh yes.
Mhm. Exactly.
John
and
is asking, has anybody looked at Tubi for streaming? Um, I have. They've been around for a while. They're one of the I don't even know what you call these guys. I mean, I know the acronym is OTT, over the top transmission. That's what these guys do. But they're like the Plex TV or the Roku TV um, section and option. They've got some live TV channels, but they're not necessarily live. It's a lot of reruns. It's a lot of 24/7 news that is not live news. Like you're not going to find Fox or CNN or MSNBC on there. It's more of like their online web alternatives to their news channels. Um, I believe it's free though, so I'm almost positive Tubi is free. So I guess for the cost of entry, you really can't complain about it.
Great
And
advertising platform.
Exactly, and that's exactly what it is. But I'm scrolling through their channel list right now. These are all of the same channels that are available on Plex, on Roku, through their live TV functionality. Um, it's it's Court TV, it's Ion, it's the Game Show Network. It's all these channels that again are nice, um, but are not available, but that are already available elsewhere. Um, they said they had NFL games. There is the only way they have NFL games would be as if they give you the opportunity to watch your local Fox or CBS affiliate, John, which I don't know that they do. Let me check that out. Oh, yes.
oh,
Okay. So what they do have is they have the NFL channel, which is not the NFL network. It is a watered down version of the NFL network that's available on cable or satellite. You will not find live games on that.
interesting.
I don't think, unless I'm missing it.
All right.
Well, actually, okay, interesting. So Tubi is actually owned by Fox. So
So they could do it.
well, they own. I mean, if it's a Fox game,
Yeah.
they own it. Um, so they have the only thing they have is the NFL channel, not the NFL network, but the NFL channel. Close to live digital content, highlight and replays. No live NFL games on Tubi.
So it's not for the sports
No, but
enthusiast.
they say that you can watch NFL.
They're not
Technically
lying.
wrong.
Yeah.
But it's not what you're thinking. The only way to watch full NFL coverage is to be a subscriber to YouTube TV and have Sunday Ticket, or be a bar or restaurant that is grandfathered into DirecTV's old NFL Sunday Ticket plan. Or just, of course, stream it illegally like most people do anyway. That is also an option, which
Mhm.
we, of course, don't condone, but is an option.
All right. You're welcome, John. Um, Nick, you have a 3D printer.
Mhm.
And you're from New York.
Yeah, guilty of both.
New York residents eyeing a new 3D printer may soon have to submit a criminal background check if a newly proposed state bill becomes law. The
Notice
recent,
how you said from New York and not living
yeah,
in New York. That's
yeah, that's different.
that's
I
the
mean,
key
yeah,
qualifier
right.
right there.
The recently introduced legislation authored by State Senator Jennifer Rakumar aims to snub out an increasing popular loophole where convicted felons who would otherwise be prohibited from legally buying a firearm instead simply 3D print individual components to create an untraceable ghost gun. If passed, New York would join a growing body of states placing restriction on 3D printers in the name of public safety. Amazing.
I wouldn't say this on the air during my day job,
Mm,
but I'll say it here. Um, I mean, if we're being honest about it, I can't imagine your average group of convicts and criminals are are going to be purchasing a 3D printer, figuring out how to use one
right.
to print a single or double shot pistol, because that's all these things are. They're made of plastic components. The heat immediately causes warping in these things, and they're good for maybe one, or now obviously it's only one one shot could be enough, I guess. But you're not printing off a fully automatic handgun.
Right. But it's interesting if that's true. That I mean, I haven't heard about other states that are doing that.
Well, let me look. I'm sure
But
it's
this
probably I'm sure
that's
it's Illinois, California,
uh,
and like one or two others. Can't imagine it's a huge list.
Can't imagine that it's terribly effective
what?
overall to be I so you get 1 shot, maybe 2,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Correct.
How many do you have to print
Yeah.
to actually do something with it? I mean, I'm kinda like, doesn't seem that feasible. I mean, I
But
guess technically you could do something, but I mean, it's one of those such a pathological case, well, you know, well, you could get into trouble with, a steel pipe. So
Oh,
we're going to ban
absolutely.
steel pipes. Is kind of where this is like coming up in my head. I'm like, okay, well, you could get in trouble with a hammer too, but so does that mean we also have to regulate hammers? Just asking for a friend.
The steel pipe one is actually fun. You can that's a cool little science project. Now, of course, not that I've ever done that, but from what I have watched online, it's a cool little science project. And on the two states are New York and California,
oh,
so I think that's
okay.
that pretty
That
accurately.
answers that question.
Pretty
Yep.
well. And then again, so if the concern is, of course, and there is a real question and concern about felons and other individuals that have had their Second Amendment rights restricted, getting access to firearms, sure. Um, but if nothing stops these from being sold on the black market, it just stops you from owning the printer, which again, I don't think your hardened criminal or convict is going to be going and purchasing a maker bot and figuring out how to
Print a gun.
print a gun.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. It's going to be some guy that's criminally adjacent to these people that is going to print these up and sell them, but
Mhm.
it's not going to be the guy himself. I can't imagine. Maybe I'm
No,
maybe
I
I'm out of
mean,
touch with my
no.
criminal friends, but I don't I can't imagine that's a large group of people.
Yeah, if they can buy a printer and figure out how to print a gun, they should go and make money working for IT or be an
Well, and
Do
I
artist.
something.
figured that there's other ways to get it to be more effective with
Yep.
this that are faster,
Yep.
less cost and labor intensive. I mean, if you look at, simple behavioral economics, I mean, it just doesn't hold. To
Yep.
buy a printer, figure out how to program it, go through all the steps. It's just kind of I mean, it's a theoretical possibility, but I don't know that it's really a practical possibility.
And unless you're buying one of the nice 3D printers, like north of the $500 price range, they are a royal pain in the ass to use. Like I've got one
Oh,
of
they
the
are.
cheap $200 ones, doesn't have auto leveling. The bed heating is garbage. It sucks. Now I've figured out how to use it effectively for my use case and it's fine. But if you're trying to just purchase one of these $169 printers and start banging out prints, that's not going to happen. It is so much trial and error with the spool of the heat of the extractor and everything like that. It's not for the faint of heart.
No. And I mean, that's kind of my point is that, you're looking at in a world where somebody can go out and go buy a gun on the black market, and there's other ways to acquire a gun. This seems like the stupidest possible idea I think I've heard of all day. And I mean, it's not that I, am like a huge fan here, but I am just kind of like, yeah, I think you're just barking up the wrong tree and you're creating unnecessarily regulation and expense and frustration for somebody who might have legitimate use case where
Mhm.
you might have a 1 in a million chance of somebody deciding to go buy a 3D printer to do something like this. And like you said, you need an expensive one. Gosh, it's way cheaper to go out and go buy a gun on the black market than it would be to go buy a $1,000 printer, figure out how to code it, and spend 3 months coding it to try to get a single
Yeah, or just start opening unlock car doors. I mean, that's the best solution of of doing that. That's where all the
Right,
illegal
exactly.
firearms come from anyway. Um,
Well, and that's kind of my point, right? There's so many other ways to do this that, I mean, this just strikes me as like the most asinine. Like the conversation earlier, the answer is it always depends. I mean, let's be realistic here. Let's be real. Let's pay attention to numbers and data and what humans are actually going to decide to do. I mean, is it theoretically possible? Yeah, somebody could theoretically do all kinds of things. Are we going to spend all of our time trying to worry about theory or actually looking at what people are actually doing?
in New York and California, it's all worried about the worried about the theory. Amnon, so go back to the story.
Yeah.
So the law, the potential legislation would
Yeah.
require background checks for anybody purchasing a 3D printer in New York State.
Yep. Anybody,
So that
New
so
York
like all these
resident.
websites, like so you won't be able to buy a printer online. You'll have
Well,
to buy it in person. Amazon
uh,
can't conduct a background check.
yeah, that, I mean, I get this makes it sound like what it was here, in order to buy a gun.
Which you can't just
Which,
go and just buy online. You have to go through, you need to have it shipped to an
yeah,
FFL. It's a whole
right.
process.
Yeah.
There's not going to be stores that are going to be willing to go through the process of becoming a certified
I don't know. Well,
shipper of 3D importing 3D printers and you coming and doing a background. So you'll just have to buy them in person.
and really, it doesn't say that criminals are not going to be able to buy it. They just that from the story, it's just that you're gonna have to go through
Well,
a
it does. If you
background
fail
check.
the
So
background check, they won't sell it to you. The
so
same way that if you were go to purchase an actual
I don't
firearm.
know. I mean, that's
Yeah,
gonna be
that's the only
bad.
reason you would do it.
That's gonna be bad if they're not gonna. I mean, if you have a criminal violation from 10 years ago and you're a felon, but you are now working in computers, or you are an artist, you know you straighten your life out and you want to buy
Sure.
one of these in order to make money, that's bad if they're going to stop you from doing that. I would think that they want to have a record that you bought one. I don't
Hmm.
know. Maybe if you were violent, I have no idea. I'm not the one who's doing it. You have to
I
read.
got nothing here. I mean,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
looking at this, and
No,
I
I
mean,
would.
we come up with asinine laws all the time rather than
Yep,
address the bigger problems.
yep.
And like, what expense are we going to go to? And realistically,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
much money are we going to spend? And how much frustration are we going to spend trying to prevent people from getting 3D printers to prevent a single incident? Maybe somewhere theoretically in that 1 in a million chance.
Yep.
Well, I look forward to going. I looking forward to B&H Photo having to add background check capability to their camera store and Adorama and everybody else because that's where you buy this stuff in person in New York City. Good
All right.
times. And again,
Mind
that's
boggling.
formerly of New York, no longer.
Yeah. All right. Windows 11. Unfortunately, a default setting in Windows 11 Pro, having its software BittLocker encryption enabled, robs as much as 45% of the speed from your SSD as it forces your processor to encrypt and decrypt everything. This is coming
I don't
from.
see a problem.
You don't?
I'm just being obnoxious. No, I
This
mean,
is
like, seriously?
this is
Did they not
comes
test this feature before releasing it?
well, that it's enabled, and Tom's Hardware did test, and they said that's what they found out in their testing. According
Okay,
to
so
our
I'm going to make a
test,
slightly snarky comment that they should have detected the hit in the performance when they ran it through their automated nightly testing.
well, they didn't look at that. I know what you mean, though. They're saying that random writes and reads, which affect the overall performance of your PC, get hurt the most. but even large sequential transfers are affected. I mean, it's just like the data has to go through another agent before it gets to you for you to do whatever you want with it. And of course it's going to slow it down. But you can
Of course.
apparently you can turn it off. Now, I don't know what happens if it's on already and everything is encrypted. If you turn it off, if it's going to be able to read it.
Is it going to de-encrypt everything by default, or is it going to
Yeah,
decrypt it as it is read? I don't
right.
know.
I don't know,
That sounds
but
like a
it's
really nightmare
interesting.
feature. I mean, unless you're dealing with a
Yeah.
government computer or dealing with classified documentation, it
Right.
seems like it would be a complete waste of CPU
Yep.
for most people.
Let's see what else here. NVIDIA research announced today that it has, that last week, developed a new AI agent called Eureka that is powered by OpenAI GPT-4 and can autonomously teach robots complex skills. In a blog post, the company said Eureka, which writes reward algorithms, has for the first time trained a robotic hand to perform rapid pen spinning tricks as well as a human can. Eureka has also taught robots to open drawers and cabinets, toast and catch balls, and manipulate scissors, among nearly 30 tasks. So this is machines teaching machines.
hmm What could
Yep.
possibly go wrong? I can't wait until they make it hallucinate accidentally.
Yeah, give it a little weed, couple
Uh,
drinks, maybe. Be good to go.
yeah.
No problem.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah. And when is the last time we heard good news about IBM?
I just watched a really long YouTube documentary about the rise and fall of I need to send that to you. It's really well done.
Okay.
Probably 30 years ago.
So here is a
Send it to
story.
me. I'm curious.
I'll post it in the chat. It's a
I've never
really
seen a
good series.
business that has killed off so many business lines
Mm-hmm.
and developed so much amazing technology and done such a piss poor job
Yep.
of marketing.
Yep.
Hey, have you ever seen Silicon Cowboys, the movie?
I have not.
I don't know where it's available to stream. A couple of years ago, it was on Netflix. It's undoubtedly gone by now, I'm sure. And it's an actual movie about Compaq and their attempts to, what did they do? Rewrite the IBM bootloader without having any of the
Mm,
code, I think. That's pretty good. And there was an AMC show about it too.
Hmm.
Um,
so-
damn, I don't remember the name of the AMC show. That was really good. So
Yeah.
I'll post both of those.
Yeah, I'm a longtime ex-IBMer, and my father-in-law worked at IBM for his entire career. Yeah, I have some insight into the company, just a tiny bit.
The TV
It's
show's called
amazing to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. The TV show's called Halt and Catch Fire. It's actually very good.
Okay, I'll look
And
it
then
up.
I'll
I'll
post
write it
the
down.
movies and other stuff, the YouTube thing in there.
So a brain-inspired computer chip that could supercharge artificial intelligence by working faster with much less power has been developed by researchers at IBM in San Jose, California. Their massive North Pole processor chip eliminates the need to frequently access external memory and so performs tasks such as image recognition faster than existing architectures do while consuming vastly less power. In the right direction. I wonder how much memory it's got on board.
A lot.
Yeah, must be.
Petabytes, probably. With the way SSD technology has been
Yeah.
going, they've probably got, massive amounts of memory. I mean, I never said that IBM doesn't have phenomenal technology. I just said that they're piss poor at marketing it.
Oh, very peaceful.
And innovating it. Develop it once, develop the whatever the 630, 610 mainframe was or whatever, and just stop there and just hope that everything else comes to line.
Mhm.
And Haley,
Absolutely.
you said your kid is studying computer science.
Yep. One of them is.
In July, Seattle-based and tech-backed nonprofit Code.org announced its 10th policy recommendation for all states to require all students to take computer science to earn a high school diploma. In August, Washington State Senator Lisa Wellman phoned in her plans to introduce a bill to make computer science a Washington high school graduation requirements to the State Board of Education. I mean, I think, I don't know that they should make it a law, but give the school and explain to them why it's important that their kids will take a computer science as a one of the required ones. I think I don't know. Do you think any schools will say, nah, nah?
It
Well,
should be a
I have a lot of
requirement.
questions, here. Like, I don't have a problem with, computer knowledge or computer
Hmm.
technology or computer foundations or whatever being a required set of courses. However, I do have the question about like, okay, so how do we define computer science? Are we talking about algorithms? Are we talking about operating systems? Are we talking about what exactly are we talking about when we talk
I
about,
don't know.
kids have to have computer science? And then the other problem that I've run into is if we're talking about software, coding, et cetera, most students don't actually have the neural pathways or the foundations in their education until they're probably 15 or 16 years old to be able to even comprehend basic Java programming. Not to say that there aren't exceptions, but there are some studies out there that show that kids basically can't do a whole lot of coding, until they're at least of a certain age. And if you don't at least have algebra skills, how are you going to do coding?
Hmm.
Um, and so I have the question here, okay, so what exactly does computer science mean to you? And what are you trying to teach the kids? And what are you trying to get them to ultimately do? What outcome are you trying to seek from this? Like, what's your point? Not
The,
saying that I disagree that they need the tech skills.
well, I mean, she doesn't say what's the point, but the point is, I mean, she doesn't say what is computer science, but she says that the point is because everything is, I mean, when they go out into the world, they need to know computers and not just to play games or to turn it on and off or to use Microsoft Word, but to know a little bit more. Uh,
Sure. I mean, I don't disagree with
there,
the, okay, you need to know a little bit more. You might need to know, software or certain types of software. But, when we start talking about, okay, so what exactly do you mean by software or computer science? Are you talking about, you need to know about red black trees or how are we optimizing this? Is this O of N? What exactly are we trying to teach them? And are we going to actually successfully be able to teach it to every college or every high school student?
well, she,
So in this General Assembly session in North Carolina, they passed a requirement, and it's gone through the DPI, Department of Public Instruction. North Carolina now has a computer science graduation requirement.
really,
Um, you asked about those draft courses, so I just pulled the list. It's there's a whole bunch of options. I'm not going to read through all of them, but it's for middle school and high school. So there's things on here like network administration, network security, intro to computer science,
Mhm.
Python, computer fundamentals, Java, Adobe
C++.
Visual Design would be an option.
wow.
Engineering, so I guess that'd be more CAD and things of that nature. Game art and game design, C sharp, data analysis, HTML5, app development. integrated tools, robotics, Unity programming. That's pretty cool. There's a whole bunch of stuff on this list, which is
Mhm.
pretty cool. Some good stuff in here.
I have absolutely no problem with kids learning how to do this stuff. I mean, I have a high schooler, but he's in Virginia. And I think that having basic skills is super important. And I think that that's where industry is going is by the way of the computer. It's just a question of when we say we're going to teach computer science and we're going to make those requirements. Okay, so what are we taking off the list that they currently have
Well,
on their
here
list?
she's saying here that she also sponsored this bill in 2021, which allows high school students to take a computer science elective in place of a third year math or science course that may be required for college admission.
I could see that. Maybe more on the science side than the math side. I think those skills are probably a little bit more important. But if the option is to take a forensic science class, now if you want to be a forensic scientist for your career, all right. But I had a choice my senior year to take. Just I had to burn some credits, and I took a forensic science class that it was not super useful for me long term. The option was to take an additional computer science class, which I was already taking as an alternative. I undoubtedly would have done that.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that I find with my kids, at least, has been that the pace at which we teach math through elementary school, which leads to middle school, which leads to high school, I don't know that there's a lot of option there for, hey, let's get rid of a math class because a lot of times they're only getting to calculus one in high school at most,
If that,
uh,
yeah, pre-calc.
if that, right? Pre-calc for a lot of them. So I would personally take issue with that because I don't think that they're getting enough math um, for almost any STEM field. But if you start talking about, okay, so are we getting rid of a particular science or a particular history class, I might be okay with some of that. It depends on what we're talking about giving up in order to make space because everything is trade-offs.
Yeah, they can't do everything.
No, they can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
We
you
might
were
wish
able
they
to
can, but
say, like, your option in senior year is, or even junior, is chemistry, forensic science, or some sort of programming class, I think those are relatively equivalent. Again, depending on what you're wanting to do.
yeah, but I don't know that most high schoolers really have perfect line of sight into what they want to do. I know my youngest is a junior in high school and is taking chemistry this year, and he didn't think he was going to like chemistry. And lo and behold, he loves chemistry and has over 100 average in it.
Interesting.
So they're doing extra enrichment in that. So, what I'm finding is that, at least with my kids, all four of them, that their paths have changed dramatically while they've been in high school. Who they are changes. And even into college, for some of them, it's been, an interesting process to see the growth and the change in realizing more of who they are as people and as humans and as adults and what they really want to do in life is not necessarily what they thought they wanted to do.
Oh,
All for STEM education, though. I spent a lot of time with Girl Scouts working with girls trying to get them to go into STEM fields.
important. Definitely important. All right. Anything
Now, if you want to
else?
talk about the percentage of women that are going into computer science as a major and how that's been dropping like a lodestone and then how we fix that, I'd love to chat about that. Because when I graduated from NC State in 96, my class was over 25% female. Now it's down in the low teens. It's like hovering between 9 and 11%.
Which I can't understand because the opportunities have never been more. You said you graduated in 95, 97,
96.
96, well, right in the middle. What
Yeah.
you, I'm sure, had access to through middle and high school and college versus what is available now is not even comparable. the opportunities and the options have never been made more available. That to me
Right.
seems unfathomable.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we were, messing with trash 80s in the 1980s, and I had a PC Junior um, doing basic programming in middle and high school. But I mean, I think that, it's interesting to me to see that the stats for women going into engineering and going into STEM fields is so low because girls are historically dropping out of being interested in STEM careers in middle school. And they're unwilling or unable to do the math. And it extends as far back as middle school, is where we start
Hmm.
seeing the attrition for girls that want to go into STEM. So when we talk about teaching computer science in high school, great, but you've already lost half of your girls or most of your girls that were going to go into a STEM field by that point. So what foundational issues have we, not addressed in order to get them to the point where they might be interested in an actual STEM field in college and beyond? Because that is where the highest paying jobs are, is in STEM fields. But if you don't get the education, you can't do the career and you can't get the pay.
Right.
Well, I think you might be able to bring some of that back to the idea that, and obviously you change a lot through middle school, you change a lot through high school. You might not
Absolutely.
know, even in college, you might not know what you want to do. Um, but I don't, at least from in my experience, I just didn't feel like long term career and vision outlook was something that was stressed at all. I think if you were talking to middle schoolers more about, um, it's not, of course, all about money, but that's a very important facet of life, whether you like it or not. Um, Talk about the successful careers and the opportunities that those can provide earlier, you probably could win some of those back. But when you don't, and it's just kind of pushed to the side, um, I guess it kind of makes sense.
Well, the other thing that we saw is my kids were in public school at various points. And my younger daughter in particular took an engineering class at East Carey. And I'm calling them out. And yes, I've shared this across my social media too. But the engineering class involved them making duct tape wallets. And it was, and duct tape purses. And it was beyond ludicrous. So,
Well,
you
that's not a
know,
useful skill that you think you'll be able to go into long term for business mogul.
not really sure how duct tape wallets apply to engineering. So, getting that kid across the line to ever take computer science would be a non thing, right? But if I look at what math opportunities she had available to her at um, elementary school and then what was available in middle school, it was just insane to me that there weren't more opportunities in true like engineering classes like the ones that you listed that actually had a practical purpose versus this weird made up world of, hey, I'm going to teach you how to make a duct tape wallet. I don't know. And that being an assignment, so when we talk about losing girls, I think that that's part of it. And then, you talk about the cool factor. It's not necessarily cool to be, a crazy math geek or being the kid in all of the gifted and talented classes. But the only way that a lot of times you get into calculus in high school is if you're in the AG classes in elementary school, at least here in the US. I didn't go to elementary school here in the US,
Hmm.
different education system.
All right.
Yeah,
Yep.
food for thought.
Anything else anybody wants to add? It's time again. Time to sign off. Nick?
I'm good. I should be here. I might be here next week.
Okay.
Big Halloween party Saturday, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it up in time.
Oh, that's okay.
We'll do our best.
Haley, anything you wanted to add? I want to thank you for being here, and I hope we'll see
Thank
you
you for
again.
having me. I hope to be back as
Yep.
often as you'll let me.
Yep.
I
Well,
can
there's a
come
little.
stir the pot and stir shit and make a mess and be a problem child anytime you let me.
We are very Amnon is very predictable when it comes to this show. It is the same. It has been the same places, but how long has this been in some form, Amnon?
Since
Almost 30 years?
93.
Yeah, there you go. 30 years.
Yep. All right.
Well, I would have to convince the dogs to walk a little faster in the mornings.
Yes. Well, I mean, look, it's fine. Like you see, we're not stringent. There are no stringent rules here. It's coming to have fun and coming to help other people. And if you have other stuff, family stuff, it's okay. And people sometimes just don't show up. And sometimes they leave early and sometimes they come late. And it's fine. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, sometimes they're too hungover. It's totally fine. It's not a huge problem.
Absolutely.
It's totally normal.
Yep. All right. So thanks, Haley.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Nick.
Fun.
See you.
And Spence, if you're listening somewhere, have nice trip. And thanks, Gal, for being here. And I know that Katie is on the way down to Florida, so that's nice. But also, good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Dana, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov, and Yael. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner, and if you're using the same passwords anywhere, change it. Make it unique password for every place. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. And again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., Nick is on Wilmington's 980 The Wave and 107.9 FM with his daily political and commentary show. You can tell your Echo device to play 980 The Wave and hear him live, or you can go later on to nickcraig.com and listen to the recordings. And Tuesdays at 7 p.m., and lately it's been Monday or Tuesdays or Wednesday, Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast on Twitch. That's for gaming news and survival games. So Tuesday evening, 7 p.m., it's twitch.tv/Infection Podcast, all one word. See you next.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.